going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz, Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and it is finally time for WrestleMania, the first WrestleMania of the Papa H era, and it's coming up this weekend. I don't know when. This is probably going to go out sometime Friday morning. If it's gone out, if you're listening to it obviously right now, go back to the previous podcast because that'll be your stand and deliver preview as well. The one thing, and I want to say this right off the bat before we get off to the races, because you're going to look at this and it's probably not going to be super long. I don't really have much to waffle on about in this podcast because you guys, if you've been listening to me doing WWE last week, if you've been listening to some of the topical videos I've done in the past few weeks, you guys know what I think about all these matches already. So it's a rundown. Obviously, it's, you know, the name that I gave to my preview series a long time ago is Get Hyped. This is the last opportunity to get hyped for WrestleMania, but at the same time, realistically, there's a lot of good stuff on this card, and if you're not hyped already, then there's not much I'm going to do to get you there. Two things, as always, going to talk about before I get into the actual card. One is the fact that Miz is hosting, very similar to Pretty Deadly hosting on the Stand and Deliver show. This is only really going to go one way, isn't it? This is going to be interrupted by LA Knight at some point, and LA Knight is going to end up hosting WrestleMania in LA. Now, people have speculated that there's going to be an interference by somebody like a Johnny Gargano or maybe a celebrity because it's in Hollywood, and he's going to lose his hosting duties, but let him lose his hosting duties to LA Knight. Yeah. Yes, quite literally, that would be repeating what they did on NXT, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because it wasn't a bad thing in NXT, and intentionally, they haven't put LA Knight in a match. Now, there was a brief rumor when whatever happened to Bray Wyatt happened and took him out of commission, and the match with Bobby Lashley has obviously been scrapped. They were saying they were going to do LA Knight versus Bobby Lashley, but why? That's a really weird match to throw together, and it would be a weird match even if there was a story attached, but with no story attached and no real reason to exist, it wouldn't make any sense. Not that I'm celebrating Bobby Lashley not being on the card. Bobby Lashley is in the Andre on SmackDown, and that's kind of sad. Let's be real. Oh, should mention, recording this before SmackDown, I'm predicting either Johnny Gargano or Bronson Reed to win the Andre on SmackDown. Don't know what that means. It doesn't mean anything, but it's the Friday, it's the Smack. They did WrestleMania Raw, which was interesting, and I didn't do that because I didn't do a WWE last week, this week. They did WrestleMania Raw. It's going to be WrestleMania SmackDown. It's going to be the last stare down between Cody and Roman. It's going to be the Andre, and it's going to be a bunch of matches featuring whoever's not featured on the card, or it's going to be a bunch of promos. It's the people that bought the card, or sorry, the people that bought the ticket for that night didn't buy the ticket for SmackDown. They bought it for the Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame, as it stands right now, Rey Mysterio, the Great Muta, Andy Kaufman going into the celebrity wing. Stacy Keibler, rumored to be inducted by Mick Foley, which is fucking awesome. And it was just announced actually today that referee, the late Tim White, is the one that's getting the Warrior Award this year. That's fantastic. I just finished watching Good Mike Works preview for WrestleMania. He's actually going. Congratulations to him. Congratulations to anybody else that actually is going. I'm quite jealous of you, even though I've got a couple of shows coming up in my own right. But I will say, if you want a deeper sort of introspection about Tim White and his contribution specifically to the WWE, go check it out on Good Mike Works channel. He's way more knowledgeable on stuff like that than I am. I really can't even say anything about the Andy Kaufman thing because I wasn't watching wrestling at the time, to say the very least. Stacy Keibler was awesome. Stacy Keibler with the Dudley Boys was fucking fantastic. If she's being inducted by Mick Foley, then it'll be a chance for us to see Mick Foley. Ric Flair is inducting the Great Muta, and people are upset that Ric Flair gets to, you know, keep existing because, you know, when you decide you don't like somebody, they're not supposed to exist anymore. Great Muta, again, not somebody that I could personally give you a career rundown on because, you know, it's not really my area, but I mean, he's impactful enough that I know how impactful he was, if that makes sense. And of course, the main thing this year is Rey Mysterio being inducted by Conan. So we're going to see Conan. If you're a WWE fan, I don't know when the last time you would have seen Conan was. I know he was in Impact for a while. I mean, most people know him from WCW and what he did before WCW. There's always the chance that they use the Hall of Fame to lead into the Rey and Dominic thing on WrestleMania night. I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know how I feel about them using... I don't know how I feel about them using the Hall of Fame to advance an angle. I also don't think you can do an attack angle at the Hall of Fame after what happened to Bret Hart a couple of years ago. Now, that might be me being soft. That might be me overreacting. I'm just saying, across the board, it might not look great. And him being part of an angle during his induction makes his induction look fake, which makes the induction ceremony look fake, which has a knock-on effect to the other inductees this year, and you don't really want to do that. I'm not saying that I'm particularly right in that frame of mind, but it's just something I've been thinking about for the last few weeks, especially when they finally said last week on SmackDown, yes, the match is going to happen. Now, if they were going to do the attack angle and the match wasn't made official until that moment, that would have been cool, that would have been unique, it would have served a purpose. I was like, okay, have that level of realism to it, and he finally got pushed over the edge. I could maybe think about it a bit differently, but we know the match is happening now. We've had the interaction with his family, which is the other purpose that doing it at the Hall of Fame would have served, so I don't think we need to at this point. If they want, because SmackDown and Hall of Fame are happening at the same time, they could show Rey Mysterio getting ready for his induction on SmackDown and have him have one final interaction with Dominic on SmackDown before his induction, and maybe do the implication on SmackDown that he's going to have his mind in another place while he's being inducted, while not really acknowledging that during the ceremony. That would be cool. I don't think we need the Hall of Fame angle. I just don't. The last thing I wanted to touch on, and this is more of an opinion thing, this is more of a me putting feelers out thing, because it's the only other thing that I've really thought of as we've led into WrestleMania. WrestleMania is really based around two groups. I mean, if you look at it, we've got 13 matches, and more than a third of them include either the Bloodline or the Judgment Day, which is fine. You guys know I like both groups. We've talked about it ad nauseum. Each group has one member that doesn't have a match, and that's Solo Sikoa, and that's Damian Priest. And I put it to you like this. Obviously, they're going to be involved in their teammates' matches, etc. We're going to get to that in a second. Post-WrestleMania, they always give a weird out-of-nowhere push to somebody. Now, this wouldn't be out of nowhere, because these are two very over groups, but Solo, put him up against whoever wins the triple threat. Priest, put him up against whoever wins the United States Championship, be it John Cena, be it Austin Theory. I know there's speculation that Jay White is going to show up on the Raw after WrestleMania as well. Damian Priest versus Jay White. Why the fuck not? The two guys that are not featured at WrestleMania from these two popular groups that have been a big part of the stories of these two very popular groups, give them sort of an apologetic push, I guess you would say, after WrestleMania. Put Solo in a mid-card title scene, put Priest in a mid-card title scene while everybody else sort of falls where they may. That's my last thought on that. Let me know what you think about The Miz hosting. Are you with me? Do you think LA Knight's going to take that job from him real quick? Hall of Fame kind of is what it is, but let me know what you're looking forward to. Let me know which inductee you're looking the most forward to, or presenters for that matter. I don't know who's inducting Andy Kaufman. I think it's Jerry Lawler. I have no idea who's inducting Timmy White. I really don't. But it might just be Dana Warrior, seeing as it's the Warrior Award. Let me know what you think about Solo and Priest, because they really do feel like the odd thumbs that are sticking out in these two really awesome storylines. To not get anything at WrestleMania is kind of weird. So, we got it announced just today. What's on what show? We knew a couple. We knew Roman and Cody were going to be main event of night 2. There's a debate over which should main event night 1. We're going to get to that. You guys know where I stand, but I'm going to say it one more time. And we know that Austin Theory and John Cena are the opening match of night 1 of WrestleMania. So technically, the first match, the first match of WrestleMania. Now, if you want to include NXT, then it's whatever the opening match at Stand and Deliver is, but I'm not going to have that argument tonight. Austin Theory, John Cena. I like Austin Theory. I would love John Cena to put Austin Theory over, but I also kind of think that Cena picking up that title for one night and then dropping it to somebody on Raw is kind of cool too. If we're going to use it for the Jay White thing, that would be kind of cool. If we're going to do what I think they should do, and I've said on multiple occasions, is have John Cena win and do an open challenge the next night, have it answered by Damian Priest, and have Damian Priest's WrestleMania moment be the night after. Also very cool. Both of those things are facilitated by John Cena winning the United States Championship, because he's not going to have a run. Let's be real. So those are the two caveats. I would love Austin Theory, because I know Austin Theory is one of those guys, and yes, this is my channel that you're listening to, so say it loud, say it proud. It pisses off all the right people. Austin Theory is great. Underrated. He's not the finished article yet by any stretch of the imagination, but for how shit people think he is, he's better than people think he is. He was as fun as the way was in NXT with Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, and that was a bunch of fun. What he's doing now is better than that, and Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae are not really getting any shine. Now, again, Johnny Gargano has his match at Stand and Deliver. If you want my thoughts on that, listen to the Stand and Deliver preview pod that went up before this one. I also think Johnny Gargano could be a surprise winner of the Andre on Friday, but that's not really anything. Austin Theory, out of that whole group, is standing tall, which I guess the group served its purpose at that point. But Austin Theory going over John Cena would be huge. The only way I'll accept John Cena winning is if somebody's going to go over huge on him the next night, because one of the other things we've been promised in the Triple H era, and I'm not going to get into the whole, oh my god, they're allowing Vince in the building. I'm not having that argument either. This is a positive podcast today. The only way I will accept John Cena being the champion is if the rumors are true and they're going to make the Raw after WrestleMania again, with big moments and such. Damian Priest getting a huge win over John Cena would be awesome. Jay White obviously debuting at all on Raw would be huge, but like, what better way to debut in a company than to go on its flagship show, beat its golden boy for one of their singles titles? I think that's awesome as well. If they're not doing either of those, keep the belt on Austin Theory. What are we doing next? Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul. Really, really simple. This match is going to be a lot of fun. I think it's insane the way Seth Rollins has balanced being the defender of all things pro wrestling and sports entertainment with the absolutely ridiculous, flamboyant, over-the-top character that he's playing right now. I do think he should come out dressed like the Joker, like he did in the Hollywood parody, because I think that would be fucking fantastic. And Logan Paul, again, say it with me, say it loud, say it proud, pisses off all the right people. You can't see me, I'm doing the hand motions, but this is an audio platform. It's fine. Logan Paul, as a rookie in WWE, has done better than most of your favorites. Fighting alongside The Miz, fighting against The Miz, going in the Rumble, doing the spot with Ricochet, having the match in Saudi... Oh, you can't talk about Saudi Arabia, you can't say anything good about Saudi Arabia. He had a good match with Roman Reigns at Saudi Arabia. It was a lot of fun. And Seth Rollins is gonna make him look like $1 million, and he's not somebody that needs to be made to look like $1 million. That's a perfect exhibition, what do you want to call it? Exhibition equation. I've always said there's always one match that sticks out just for match's sake, and I always use CM Punk versus Randy Orton as the example. No stipulation, no title involved, nothing on the line, nothing to make it in any way unique other than the fact that the two guys in the ring are awesome. That's this match. I want to say that Seth Rollins doesn't lose anything by losing, because he's that kind of guy, and he's concrete, and he's Teflon, and all those types of things. And Logan Paul is rumored to go up against John Cena at SummerSlam, but that's still a while out. But at the same time, for how awesome Seth Rollins is, he really fucking deserves a win. And Seth Rollins still being that celebrity-ish guy doesn't lose anything by losing either. He can always come out the next night and be like, hey man, that was only my 5th WWE match ever, like, of course I lost, it's Seth Rollins, or whatever the case may be. And you can play up a story where he's so embarrassed by losing at WrestleMania, he has to shoot for the stars, and he has to call out John Cena. I don't think we go Mania to Mania, like we did with The Rock. But I think if Logan Paul comes out on Raw the next night, pissed off that he lost to Seth Rollins, and calls his shot at SummerSlam the very next night on Raw, calls out John Cena the very next night on Raw, maybe calls out the United States champion John Cena the next night on Raw and says, get your ass back here for SummerSlam, that's a good story to tell. Give Seth Rollins a win. He deserves it. He hasn't been in the title picture in ages. Let Logan Paul get pissed off and build on being pissed off. Let Seth Rollins get back in the fucking title picture and carry on. Seth Rollins, just did that one. Trish Stratus, Lita, and Becky Lynch, the women's tag team champions at the moment, taking on Damage Control. And here's where we say, well, Damage Control can't win because they suck. Well, they don't suck. Dakota Kai is great, Io Sky is great, Bayley is one of the ones that kept us sane during COVID. They deserve a win. Interesting factor being Becky Lynch and Lita being the women's tag team champions. Those are the only belts not being defended on the WrestleMania card, which is a bummer. I made a prediction when we're going to talk about the showcase matches in a second. When they announced the women's tag team showcase match, I figured they would have put that on night 1 and the winner could have fought Becky Lynch and Lita on night 2. They're not doing that. The women's showcase match is on night 2. We're going to get to that later on. Now, there's two things sort of simultaneously that are happening right now. People that are calling Damage Control a failure are saying Dakota Kai and Io Sky should turn on Bayley, making her a sympathetic babyface at the end of the day. People are also hinting very strongly that Trish Stratus is going to turn on Lita and Becky Lynch. I don't see why or how that works, other than if they want to play up the story of, hey, you know, there's finally women's tag team championships in the WWE and you didn't want to get them with your best friend. You went and got them with Becky Lynch and you want to play Trish Stratus. Nobody wants to boo Trish Stratus, though. Like, realistically, nobody wants to boo Trish Stratus. And I'm not just saying that as somebody that's sort of kind of close to Toronto and she's sort of kind of maybe almost my hometown girl. It's not even a thing. I've always cheered Lita over Trish Stratus in that feud, even though Trish Stratus is awesome. But here's the thing. If Trish Stratus, okay, regardless of who wins this, if Trish Stratus turns on Lita and Becky Lynch, and Dakota Kai and Io Sky turn on Bayley, Trish goes heel, Bayley goes babyface, you can do this exact same match at Backlash, and it will actually make sense with two of the teammates swapping. At Backlash, I don't really care how we get there, but I want to see Bayley, Lita, and Becky Lynch take on Dakota Kai, Io Sky, and Trish Stratus. Because I think that match would look so weird, and it would be so, like, as much as we don't want to cheer Bayley because she's awesome, or sorry, boo Bayley because she's awesome, I definitely think nobody wants to cheer or boo Trish Stratus. So I think that'd be really weird. I think on the night, however, the turn by Trish Stratus has to be the turn that happens at WrestleMania, because, flashback, Christian versus Chris Jericho, when they were fighting over the Canadian dollar over who was going to score with Trish and Lita and whatever, that was Trish Stratus's last huge WrestleMania heel turn. So you could have a little bit of a historical link there. Plus, it's an easy way to get Damage Control a win that they so richly deserve because they are so fucking underrated and they get so much shit from critics that just want to, you know, basically they're AEW fans that want to find something to bitch about on WWE, but it is what it is. Damage Control gets the win. Trish Stratus turns. Becky Lynch and Lita don't really lose anything by losing because they're still tag team champions, and we go on down the line to see who they're going to face, and it's pretty obvious who they're going to face, but we'll get there when we get there. Showcase matches. Now, on the one hand, WWE has focused more on tag team wrestling. We all know the rumor is Vince didn't like tag team wrestling because he was such a selfish bastard that he didn't want to pay 4 guys instead of 2 in the main event. I don't know that I agree with that, but he's the unpopular guy, so whatever is bad, we're going to agree with it off the bat, are we not? They have done a pretty good job of featuring their tag team division. Not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, don't get me wrong. But they've featured a pretty damn decent tag team division, and then the Usos that were kind of above it. And the Usos are defending those titles at WrestleMania against a team that just became a team. So they kind of took 2 steps forward and 2 steps backwards. So I'm giving them half credit, and then they didn't do anything with the credit, if that makes sense. But this match is going to be fun. As I said, the showcase matches, I thought, were one of those get everybody on the card type matches because they weren't going to do the Andre. And then they announced that they're doing the Andre anyways, so you've got the Andre, and you've got these 8 guys, and you've got these 8 ladies. So they really are, without making too many useless matches, they are trying to get as many people a WrestleMania payday as possible while keeping night 1 and night 2 relatively short. Like 7 matches on night 1, 6 matches on night 2. Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Street Profits versus the Alpha Academy versus the Viking Raiders. So let's take it team by team. The Viking Raiders are awesome. Really, really glad that Sarah Logan has her job back. I'm losing my voice, sorry. Really, really glad that Sarah Logan, Sarah Rowe, whatever her real name is, got her job back. People are upset that she got her job back because of her opinions on things that have nothing to do with wrestling. Stop being strange, it's fine. The Viking Raiders themselves are a great team. They're a lot of fun. They're a powerhouse steamroller type team that I enjoy watching. Alpha Academy are being divided right now by Maxine Dupree and the Maximum Male Models. I'm surprised that the Maximum Male Models aren't in this match, but I'm pretty sure it's because they're going to get between Chad Gable and Otis. They're going to distract Otis. He's going to leave. Chad's going to be fucked. Street Profits have been teasing a breakup for ages. And ages and ages and ages, which is fine. I mean, Montez Ford's going to go on and be successful. Angelo Dawkins, everybody on commentary is going to scream, he's just as good, to cover up for the fact that he's not nearly as good. Montez Ford is a lot better. It is what it is. And Braun Strowman and Ricochet are a lot of fun to watch. So Braun Strowman and Ricochet are going to win on the night. There's no number 1 contendership attached to this, so I think it's just 4 teams looking to, show up and show out, as they say, and Braun Strowman and Ricochet are a fun team. People are saying, oh, it's a rib on Braun Strowman because he said all those things about flippy guys, on Twitter that one time. He dared to have an opinion and blah, 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 blah. But, I don't care if it's a rib. Braun Strowman and Ricochet are a fun team to watch. Now, are Braun Strowman and Ricochet a team that I would have sent to dethrone the Usos? Probably not. But they don't need that. They're a different part of the show. Their act is a different part of the show, if you take my meaning. I'm going with Braun Strowman and Ricochet to win. Now, do they parlay that into a tag team title match later on down the line? Maybe. I hope they do. Rey Mysterio versus Dominic. Rey Mysterio versus Dominic is going to be a lot of fun. I think this is where Damian Priest gets his chance to be part of the show, because I think Rhea needs to go out on her own, and theoretically with Finn's match being Hell in a Cell, he's going to be on his own by virtue of the type of the match. So he'll have Damian Priest in his corner, and I'm thinking Rey Mysterio's either going to have Conan, if he's healthy enough, in his corner, or he's going to have Legado in his corner, because Legado turning face by supporting Rey Mysterio has been a really cool thing to see unfold on SmackDown. Now, if it is Legado, then it's going to be the babyface with the numbers advantage, which is always sort of a weird story to tell. Dominic has to win this. He really does. They need to win this because this is a match that's going to get settled at Backlash. This is a situation that's going to get settled at Backlash, where there's going to be the outrageous win on the big stage, and then the revenge for the babyface is going to happen later on. Rey Mysterio is Teflon. He's going to go into the Hall of Fame the night before. Nothing bad happens to him by losing to his kid at WrestleMania. In fact, there's a lot of people, myself maybe included, that are going to say, that's the ultimate parent thing to do for your kid to, take a job at WrestleMania. And I'm guaranteeing they're going to step up this match at Backlash. It'll be like Rey's mask versus Dominic's hair. Dominic unmasks his dad, and that's when his dad announces his retirement, or however that's going to go down. I would love it to be, because hair versus mask is kind of predictable. I would love it if Dominic sort of hijacked the lucha culture a little bit by saying, when I win this, I'm going to earn my own mask. Now, they're not going to mask him all the time, obviously, but it would be a prop for him to walk around with for the next couple of months or so. I beat my dad twice, and I stole his soul. Lucha heritage exists in these masks and whatever, and I ripped my dad's heart out, or however you want to say it. Rey Mysterio is going to lose at WrestleMania, or at least I hope he will, because, spoiler alert, I want a clean sweep for Judgment Day. We're going to talk about that in a second. Now, the big, huge, gigantic debate. what should main event night 1? Now, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn is a really good story. It really is. The Usos are never mind the bloodline. Like put the bloodline aside for a second. Because even if there was no bloodline story, the Usos are the tag team in the WWE. And they're better than the Bucks, by the way. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn coming together against the Usos. Huge, great story. Is what it is. Oh my god, it's part of the bloodline, so it should be part of the main event. No. Now, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. Obviously, immediately, people don't want this to main event because Charlotte Flair's in it. Not realizing that the match isn't about Charlotte Flair, it's about Rhea Ripley. People are also upset that Rhea Ripley didn't choose Bianca Belair. And that's, problematic and whatever. Not realizing that the match isn't about Bianca Belair. It's about Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley, I'm sorry. I like Charlotte. I like a lot of the other women in the division. I like Bayley. I like Becky. I like, there's people that I want to see pushed, like a Shotzi Blackheart or a Liv Morgan or whatever. All of them. I would love to see them all succeed. There is no denying. There is absolutely no denying right now the biggest star they have on their women's division, and this is a women's division that includes Ronda fucking Rousey, is Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley went into the Royal Rumble already damaged. Rhea Ripley went into the Royal Rumble as player 1. Rhea Ripley went through the entire field. Rhea Ripley broke the time record, whatever you want to call it. She eliminated the most people. She went pillar to post in every single way that you can legitimately say. She is the biggest star they have in that women's roster. The match is about her. The match isn't about Charlotte. So your weird hatred of Charlotte Flair because she dares to be white, blonde, successful with an unpopular dad has nothing to do with it. Your unreal obsession with Bianca Belair owning WrestleMania has nothing to do with it. The story is Rhea Ripley. You win the Rumble, you go to the main event. If Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns wasn't the main event of night 2, you all would be shitting yourself in your AEW t-shirts. So don't give me that. The other part of it is, oh, well, you can't use the Royal Rumble defense because not every WrestleMania has the Royal Rumble match winner main eventing. Yeah, and every year it doesn't happen, we bitch. We're not bitching this year because you weirdos hate Charlotte Flair, not realizing, once again, that it's not about Charlotte Flair. Now, go back to the tag team match. It's going to be fantastic. We know Owens and Zayn are going to win. Here's the problem, and we're going to talk about this more in night 2. Sami Zayn shouldn't be in this match. Sami Zayn should be main eventing night 2. I'm just saying. So because this is the prize for Rhea Ripley and the consolation prize for Sami Zayn, that alone makes it not the main event / the main event, however you want to say it. Now that we've got this stupid debate out of the way, you would have made the Royal Rumble argument if Rhea Ripley had chosen Bianca Belair. And that's a problem. That you need to sit down and have a look at yourself. Anyways, Rhea Ripley's gonna win. She's gonna main event night 1. She's gonna win that title. Judgment Day are gonna stand tall night 1. Bloodline we're going to get to in a second, sorry. I do wish, however, that the tag title match was on night 2. Because I do think that the right place for that tag team title match is the opening match of night 2, and I'll get to that in a second. There's no discussion to be had. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are going to beat the Usos. It's gonna happen. And unless they're stupid, I like Charlotte Flair. I defend Charlotte Flair. You guys have seen me do it. But if Charlotte Flair walks out of WrestleMania with that title still around her waist or on her shoulder, then WWE's retarded. It's a simple fact. Rhea Ripley came up to the main roster and they had ruined her for a little bit. Rhea Ripley was awesome in the Mae Young Classic before she really started finding herself. Came back for the second Mae Young Classic and had already sort of turned herself into a badass. Owned the entire scene in NXT UK, back when NXT UK was worth watching. Yes, I'll say that. I'll put that caveat on it. Walked into NXT proper stepped up to Shayna Baszler when Shayna Baszler was at her pomp and said, yeah, you've beaten everybody here because you haven't beaten me. They went on to main event NXT that December in the only match, and you guys know me. You guys know where my loyalty lies. I'm WWE over AEW. But let's face facts. That night started with Finn Balor versus Adam Cole, which was great, and ended with Rhea Ripley defeating Shayna Baszler in the only episode of NXT that beat AEW in the Wednesday Night Wars. She came to the main roster. They dropped the ball with her a lot. They made her tag team with Nikki Ash. They made her do the odd couple thing, whatever. She found the Judgment Day, or they put her in the Judgment Day, and Judgment Day became a thing, whatever. They got rid of Edge. Judgment Day became what it is right now to support her. She's the leader of the Judgment Day. I like Priest. Dominic Mysterio is a riot. Finn Balor is fucking awesome. We're going to get to that in a second. She is the leader of the Judgment Day. The leader of the Bloodline is main eventing night 2. The leader of the Judgment Day should main event night 1. These are my points that I'm trying to make to you right now. And the only reason you guys don't want Rhea Ripley in the main event after she's fucking earned it is because you're biased about the person across the ring from her when it's not her story. That's fucking stupid. That's all I got. It's going to be great, regardless of what you think. Her toppling Charlotte Flair. Oh, another little side story here. She doesn't really have a story with Bianca Belair, does she? She's got a WrestleMania history. She's got a grudge to get over at WrestleMania specifically with her chosen opponent. By the way, because WWE are the company that can actually tell stories that don't involve one person just fucking off for a while and getting drunk with jobbers and knocking up their wife. Oh yes. There you go. There's night 1 out of the way. Sorry, I got a little bit. Cards on the table. I thought I was going to have a co-host tonight. That didn't work out either, but we're hoping to have them on shortly. If you've been listening to this podcast for any stretch of the imagination, you can probably guess who that was, but I'm going to save the surprise for when the surprise is. Night 2. Brock Lesnar versus Omos is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be two guys running into each other. That's all I got. We're going to get a really big, awkward-looking F5, and it's going to be fantastic, and MVP is going to do some overacting on the outside of the ring. I don't know. If Lesnar puts over Omos, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, it's a passing of the torch moment, but Omos is just there because he's big. He's just there because he's big. That's all I got. The showcase match for night 2, yes, it's a little bit more thrown together. And no, there isn't nearly as much of a women's tag team division put together, but this match is really only to serve one purpose. It's Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez teaming up. It's not Natalya and Shotzi. I would really love to see something for Shotzi, but it's not going to happen. And it's Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville teaming up. Now, side note, they've thrown in Sonya Deville here because Carmella's injured again. And when you know what Carmella just came back from, for her to have another setback is really terrible. Sonya Deville is another one that I'd really love to see something for, but it just looks like it's never going to happen. These 6 ladies are there to be cannon fodder for the super team that is Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. I guarantee you right now, unless somebody new randomly shows up and pulls a Hardy Boys and is like a magical 5th team in the match, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler are winning this. Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler are taking on Becky Lynch and Lita at some point for those titles. You put Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler with those tag team championships and just let them sit on them for a while. Because, yeah, it'll still not really be a division, but they'll just be collecting credibility on their 2 wastes. Ronda Rousey from more places than just WWE. Shayna Baszler from her awesome run in NXT and what she should be doing in WWE. Just do it. Just do the logical thing, and we can do that because Papa H is in charge. It's fine. Speaking of the women's division, Bianca Belair, I'm sorry, she wasn't chosen by Rhea Ripley. She had to settle for an awesome match with Asuka. The poor baby. Asuka should win this. Bianca Belair, and I have to precursor this all the time or people get really weird. Bianca Belair's a great athlete, yes. Her gimmick sucks. The hair whip gimmick sucks. her title reign is stale as fuck, and this is the third WrestleMania title match she's been handed in as many years. Eat my dick if you think she deserves to win this match. And Asuka's fucking great. And Asuka's reinventing herself again. And it's fucking fantastic. Oh, well, she does creepy goo stuff. Okay, I hate to go stereotypical here, but like, what prominent Japanese character has not done the Mist at some point? The Great Muta is going into the Hall of Fame. If you don't think Asuka is going to do a Mist at WrestleMania on the WrestleMania weekend that the Great Muta is going in the Hall of Fame, again, find a small, quiet corner. Find a dark corner all by yourself. Find a mirror. Have a word with yourself. It's okay. Bianca Belair can lose. It's okay. And by God, maybe somebody else might have a chance. Oh, you weird people. Gunther, Sheamus, Drew McIntyre. Gunther's not winning, but he's not losing. It's a triple threat match so that Sheamus can beat Drew, or Drew can beat Sheamus. People who seem to be really behind Sheamus right now, which I'm happy for the guy. The guy busts his ass, don't get me wrong. He's just, like, he's not my guy. It's the same as Rey. I could never in a million years deny the impact and the influence that Rey Mysterio has had on the wrestling world for like 30 fucking years now. But Rey's just never been my guy. I don't think Sheamus has ever really been my guy. Drew McIntyre, more than once in his career, has kind of been my guy. He had his WrestleMania moment taken from him by COVID, which is nobody's fault. I mean, maybe the bats, but we don't need to go there. I really would have loved for this match to be just Drew McIntyre versus Gunther. Sheamus had a run against Gunther last year, and it was awesome. Clash at the Castle was legitimately one of the greatest matches that WWE gave us last year. But Drew toppling Gunther at WrestleMania could be a minor make good for the fact that he had to win his WWE Championship in an empty gym in front of nobody. I really hope Drew McIntyre beats Sheamus for that title. Gunther's going to go off and do something else. And then Sheamus and Drew McIntyre can continue their feud. They can continue beating the shit out of each other for the Intercontinental Championship. I have a feeling it's going to be Sheamus. I'd love it to be Drew McIntyre. That's all I'm going to say. Gunther will be fine. Gunther is going to go off and, you know, to steal a phrase from Simon Miller, he's going to go off and be the end-of-level boss and have monster matches with somebody. I mean, as weird as this is going to be to say, people want to see, and I mean, obviously I would like to see it too, but I want to see Brock Lesnar versus Gunther. Absolutely. Gunther versus Omos would be a match that I want to look at. I don't know how good it would be, but it's a match I want to look at. It's another one of those. Where are we going next? Edge, the rated R superstar, versus the Demon Finn Balor. First of all, I said it in a pod before, and I'm going to say it again now. This has to be, because we don't have Bray Wyatt on this card. To be fair, I like Bray Wyatt, but Bray Wyatt's ridiculous. We had the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match, which was a lot of fun. People deny that, but they're strange. This has to be the most ridiculous match on the card, because the very existence of this match promises that it will be the most ridiculous match on the card. I said it before, I want the cage to be fucking purple. I want the cage to be on fire. I want, you know, the 80s rocker dad goth Edge coming out on his big flaming throne, whatever OTT shit that he's going to do. I want that. More importantly, more curiously than anything else, I am desperate to see what the Judgment Day over-the-top banter version of Finn Balor's Judgment Day Demon is going to be. Because that alone is going to sell me on the match. Edge himself has said he's got some ridiculous surprises set up for this match. Finn Balor coming out as the banter demon, possibly with help from the rest of Judgment Day, also awesome. Now, here's something. Here's where I go off in and have some fun. The rumor is that Edge is going to come out and do sort of like an old Brood-esque entrance. The rumor is that Gangrel is going to be with him. Now, Tony Khan, listen to me very carefully. If you ever want me to give you a shred of credit for anything, you fucking cocaine-infused 5-year-old, give a day pass to Christian Cage for one night so that they can do the full Brood at WrestleMania, so that at Backlash you can have the full force of the Judgment Day versus the full force of the Brood. Give me that match. Give me that trios match at Backlash in Puerto Rico, hosted by Bad Bunny. All the ridiculousness. Give me that, and I will give Tony Khan a shred of credit. Or if you want to throw in Rhea Ripley as well, have it be like the Brood and Beth Phoenix versus the full Judgment Day. That would be a lot of fun as well. Now, Finn Balor's winning this match, if they're not crazy. If you guys go back 2 or 3 podcasts from this one, you will see I plotted out a potential, and very realistic for the most part, charted a path from Finn Balor winning this match to beating Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship at SummerSlam. So, he needs to win this match. He needs to win this match because he gains from winning this match. He needs to win this match because Edge doesn't really gain anything from winning this match. I don't know. If you, as the rumors start coming together, if you give me, say, Trish Stratus versus Bayley at SummerSlam, if you give me Logan Paul versus John Cena at WrestleMania, you can definitely give me the Demon Finn Balor versus the American Nightmare for all the belts. Especially if the rumors about that absolute ego belt with the Cody logo on it are true. Because that's... I want the Winged Eagle back, but I want the real Winged Eagle back. I don't want the friggin' Cody neck tattoo as a belt. That doesn't need to be a thing. But, can you imagine what the Judgment Day's version of the WWE Championship would be? That would be a lot of fun as well. I am saying it right now. This Hell in the Cell match between Edge and Finn Balor, if it is as ridiculous as it promises to be, will be the highlight of the weekend. And I didn't say the highlight of WrestleMania. I said the highlight of the weekend. You got Impact versus New Japan happening literally tonight. You've got ROH putting on some weird show trying to compete with SmackDown in the Hall of Fame. On Friday, you've got Stand and Deliver, you've got WrestleMania Night 1, and you've got this show here. If this match is as good and as ridiculous as it promises to be, this will be the match of the weekend. Fight me on that if you want to. You can be wrong in a corner, talking to yourself, having a word with yourself in the mirror, as we've already established. And in the main event, Cody Rhodes is going to beat Roman Reigns. It is what it is. I mean, like, there's nothing else I can say about that that's going to make it any more or any less true. Hopefully, accompanying Roman Reigns to the ring will be Solo Sikoa, because that's the only exposure he's going to get at WrestleMania. We know Damian Priest is going to come out with Dominic Mysterio. Solo Sikoa, as I mentioned at the beginning, as I mentioned now, Solo Sikoa and Damian Priest are the only ones left out of the equation at WrestleMania, and I hope they both get something to do. Even if it's something as dumb as Solo Sikoa tries to help Roman Reigns and ends up spiking Roman Reigns, and that factoring into the match somehow, whatever. But I don't know what else to say about Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, except for this, right? You guys know, as I said about Sheamus, as I said about Rey Mysterio, Cody's never been my guy. Cody's actually done a fair bit in his career, in his creation of AEW, in his return or whatever, that annoy the hell out of me. The fact that he called WWE petty and then went out on AEW television every week, basically basing everything he did on trashing WWE. The fact that he can't cut a single promo without reminding you who his dad is and who his brother is and that his wife is black and that he has a mixed baby and oh, what a good person he is, and crying a little bit drives me nuts. The fact, more than any of that, the fact that Roman, Paul Heyman, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens have been working on this story, this bloodline saga that we've started calling it, for, I don't know, 2 years, roughly. and Cody Rhodes has sort of wedged himself in at the last minute by winning the Royal Rumble, and he is now being presented as the one that brought Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn together, the one that set them on their right path, and he's ultimately going to take the credit for the downfall of the Bloodline, is fucking disgraceful. Now, that aside, and Cody Rhodes not being my guy aside, and me being biased against him, and blah, 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 of course this is the main event. Of course this is the biggest thing that they could do. They blew off the Sami thing in Montreal. I could do a whole podcast about that. But I'm not an idiot. This is big. This is one of the creators of AEW fighting for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. The only thing better than this will be next year when he still has that title, because that's how he'll be booked, and he's being challenged for that title at the main event of WrestleMania by a returning CM Punk. But we'll get there when we get there. I'm not an idiot. This match is huge. Cody Rhodes, as the first big defactor of AEW coming over. Cody Rhodes with this weird, we're going to cheer him because we hate WWE, even though he's in WWE thing that people have going on, is huge. People thinking that two contracted WWE wrestlers fighting for a WWE title at a WWE pay-per-view is somehow a win for AEW, as wrong as it is, and as twisted as you have to be to think that, is a big thing. It's a big match. It's a big marquee match. It is, I would say, in a very different way, it is this year's Rock Cena. Because Cena, for the rest of the year, went off and did better shit. And then they did a marquee match at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns and everybody else I just mentioned have been doing way cooler shit. Cody Rhodes had to leave. He came in and then he had to leave again because he fucking broke his titty bone. I get it. He was insane to do that Hell in the Cell match with Seth Rollins. I give him all the credit in the world for that. I also think it was kind of dumb, but I give him all the credit in the world for that. I don't blame him for being gone. But while he was being gone, other people were telling this story that he's going to get credit for ending at WrestleMania. And that part of it is disgusting. That part of it is absolutely disgusting. And you know what the funny thing is? On the night, it's going to be awesome. On the night, you don't think about it. It's like when you're at a wrestling show, you don't think about it. Afterwards, we're going to say, yeah, that didn't make any sense. It's like taking down, what do you call it? Endgame. Avengers Endgame. Awesome on the night. Awesome in the theater. When I went to see Infinity War and Endgame, I had those great live audiences that you get that watch a movie like it's a live show. Cheering and booing and crying and doing whatever else at the screen that can't hear you because it's a fucking screen. And then you go home the next day and the next day and the next day and you pick apart, this day, this didn't make much sense, and Chris Hemsworth in the fat suit didn't really work, and let's take ages and ages and ages to dissect how time travel works to see if that movie actually works or not. But on the night, all the things that don't make sense because you're enjoying it on the night. This is pissing me off because all the credit is going in the wrong direction, and none of that will matter on the night because on the night it's fucking awesome, and that's what WWE does. I don't know what to say. I want to see the match. I acknowledge that the match is good. I acknowledge that so many people want to see this. I acknowledge that 1 million people are behind Cody Rhodes. And if you want to say, Cody Rhodes is my guy. Cody Rhodes isn't my guy. But if you want to say, Cody Rhodes is my guy, and because he's my guy, I hope he wins the Royal Rumble. And because he's my guy, I hope he wins the WWE Championship. Fine. Cool. I am happy for you in that regard. But please do not come and tell me that after 2+ years of finally fixing Roman Reigns, giving the Usos character, making Solo Sikoa the most successful NXT call-up maybe ever, proving that this was a better project for Paul Heyman than all the years that he was with Brock Lesnar, elevating Sami to the main event, keeping Kevin Owens in the main event, over, like I say, about a 2-year span. Please do not tell me that it makes any logical sense, any storyline sense for Cody Rhodes to be the one that topples this empire, because it doesn't. If you say you want him to win because he's your guy and you want him to be the title, you want him to be in the main event, you want to see him at WrestleMania, you want to see him succeed, no problem. If you're going to tell me that it makes sense, I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself. And the problem is, while I'm telling you to go fuck yourself, again, on the night, it's going to be awesome, because that is the magic and the smoke and mirrors, pun intended, of WrestleMania. I'm excited about WrestleMania, even the shit that doesn't make sense. I've rambled on for quite long enough. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. I hope you have a great WrestleMania weekend. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep every single bit of this conversation going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, happy WrestleMania weekend.